watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to get back onto the March of the King 2018. It's been a while since I did a March of the King video. But as I mentioned to you guys before, there may be months where we have 3 videos, 4 videos, or just 1. But now, we're going to discuss something else. We're going to get back into discussing a little bit about Mothra. A couple of months back, you guys probably saw my video discussing Mothra, its origins, the whole twin thing, and how would they work that out if they wanted to go that route. I will leave the link in the description for those of you who may not have seen it, or just to refresh your memory. But in that video, real briefly, I go over it. I spoke about if they were to incorporate the twins as actual people, not fairies, and they lead a cult that worship Mothra. And that would also cause a big conflict between humanity and this cult following for this monster. Well, I thought about what if there was another origin? If they didn't go that route, because there's a good chance they won't. You know, we all know that if they went the original fairies, that just wouldn't work. If they try to modernize it, it could work better, but we don't know. They're probably not going to go that route. One thing that stuck in my mind was the ending of the movie, or towards the end of the movie, right before Brody blows up the nest. Obviously, there's a lot of eggs with Muto in them, and what if they decided to use that as a source for Mothra's origin? I don't think it would be a horrible idea. I mean, we could sit here and say, oh, but it blew up and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, movies always change things around. They always come back and say, oh, but there was that one that survived. Kind of like in Godzilla 98. You know, they blew the hell out of Madison Square Garden only for the end to be one Godzilla coming out of the egg, who obviously we never saw unless you watched the cartoon. I'm assuming that was the lone Godzilla at the end of that movie. But so the chance of them going back and using a surviving egg as a source for Mothra, they can do it. I mean, that's a question that's easily answered. They can do that if they want to. Will they? Probably not. But let's play devil's advocate. Let's speculate, okay? So how would this work? How would you use Mothra in this movie coming from this egg? And this is kind of how I saw it, how I thought about it. Now, first of all, before I actually get into it, there's going to be a couple of people that are going to come out and argue that every Muto in the egg looked the same. We don't know that. Every Muto that we saw in the eggs looked the same, but there was a whole mess of them. Hell, there could be a row of different Muto that just happen to look the same, and then another row that just happen to look different from those. So let's just play devil's advocate here. Let's not get crazy, because I know people sometimes get a little crazy. They get a little too technical. But every Muto looks the same, and they don't look like Mothra, so it won't happen. We didn't see every egg. Okay, so let's just play devil's advocate. Hear me out. So this egg survives, okay? Happened to survive the blast. After the blast and with all the damage, it kind of just went down into the sewers or underneath the sewer, however you want to do it. So slowly but surely, as time has progressed, because we don't know if this movie is going to jump too far in the future or not, I'm assuming it will jump at least maybe 5-6 years into the future, but that's just a guess. And over time, this monster has grown. It's barely grown, but it's doing it. And it gets to the point where underneath San Francisco, it just can't be there anymore. And it just naturally comes out onto the earth and starts wreaking havoc in San Francisco again. Now, we can start things there because we've already had kaiju experience there. People know, they have a little bit more experience on how to deal with it. Not that you can't really do much to deal with it. You're going to have to run your ass away. But this is how Mothra starts in its larva form. Because that's one thing I don't think I really spoke about in my other videos was, is Mothra just going to come out and be flying already and all this? Or is she going to have a larva form? And that's where it kind of led me to where I'm talking about now. If they wanted to go the evolution from larva form to Mothra, this is how I saw it. That this is an egg that was left over by the Muto, and it hatches, and it comes out, and it's a larva form. You know, maybe it looks a little bit like the Muto, not 100%. It really does look like a caterpillar, but maybe it's a form of Muto we didn't see before. And maybe the Muto we saw in the prior movie were not fully evolved. And that's what we get to see with Mothra. So she comes out and in caterpillar form, not even really trying to destroy anything. Not even, hostile, so to speak. Kind of think of it like Cloverfield, like the way they explain Cloverfield, that it was just almost like a lost monster looking for its mother. Not that it had a mother. I don't want to start that whole discussion again, but just that it's lost. And Mothra would be no different. She comes out and she's looking for somewhere to feed, or maybe she's evolved to the point now where she has to come to the surface to cocoon herself. Let's go with that so we can speed up the process here. So she comes out and she's looking for a very viable place to cocoon herself. Much like the Muto did, perhaps the Muto in the first movie, they came out of their womb a little bit too soon, however the case. But anyway, back to the point. So she's looking for a place to cocoon, and this is what wakes up Godzilla. That familiar sound, or that familiar communication that Dr. Serizawa spoke about. So Godzilla hears something that he's heard before. He's like, wait a minute, I thought I killed these fuckers. And that's how he comes out. And by the time he gets to the surface and he tries to make it to San Francisco, that's when Mothra is born. Too late. She cocooned, takes off, flies away. Now she's still a young creature that is very much confused. Now she'll get a little bit more hostile. And this is where they can pick whatever city they want to go to next. Like if she wants to fly to Chicago, she wants to fly to Vegas, she wants to fly, wherever. And then maybe you can start incorporating the whole deity thing, because no one's going to really figure out, nobody really knew about the nest, okay, except the government. And to them, the nest is already gone. So this is just another monster that came from the depths and just happened to surface on San Francisco. However, Dr. Serizawa would kind of put two and two together and stuff like that. There are a couple of people who will put two and two together because they knew about the nest. But this is how it starts. There's people, because I'm hoping they keep some beautification of Mothra. Not too much. If you do it like what Toho looks like, that's a little bit too much beautification. But it's got to be like an eerie, evil kind of beauty. Put nice colors in there, but, surrounded with some dark color. I can't really explain how I am envisioning it, but it's a very dark and beautiful looking creature that seems majestic to some people and terrifying to others. And that's when you can maybe incorporate, like what I said with the idea of the twins and stuff like that I did in my video way back when. I think that was in September I did that. That was a while ago. So you can do that, and now you have everything you need. I mean, again, this is speculation. This is just me throwing out my ideas, how I would do it. Obviously, not everyone's going to agree with it. Most people won't. That's fine. But, yeah, I just thought of that like the other day. I'm like, that would be kind of cool, at least for me, in my opinion, if there was a surviving egg that turned out to be a Mothra larva that eventually grew to the point that it had to come to the surface, didn't start out hostile because it's still young, had to come to the surface to get its next stage of evolution from Mothra to the flying Mothra. And, I always thought that in the sequel, even though we know these monsters as Ghidorah, Mothra, Rodan, whatever, I still felt that they would designate them as Muto because either maybe they come from the Muto, like what I'm speculating here, or because that may be the only way for them to define them. They know Godzilla is a different species, but they don't know if the Muto have like connections with, I don't want to say connections, but they don't know if the Muto may look different, from one Muto to the next. They don't even know their real names. That's just a designation. So there's still a lot of mystery surrounding the race of the Muto. And when you consider just how much like insects the Muto did look like, how similar, it would only, to me, be, natural for them to assume Mothra would be a Muto as well. She flies. She looks very much insectoid, whatever. And so there's a chance that could happen too. We don't really know, but that was just something I thought, like if I was completing a sequel that surrounded Godzilla versus Mothra for Legendary, and I wanted to incorporate the twins, and I wanted to incorporate the larva form of Mothra, as well as the evolution to the flying Mothra, I think this is the best way I could come up with doing it. Put the twins in there as regular people who are the leaders of a cult who look at Mothra as a majestic creature while others look at Mothra in fear. Make Mothra look very beautiful in a very dark way. A very, like, you're either on one side or the other. Either she's beautiful to you and you look at her as majestic, or she just looks evil. But she has a very regal look to her almost. And then use the leftover egg as, and I know that's cliche. I know people, oh, that's cliche. I understand that. But again, we're trying to incorporate these monsters into a different setting from Toho, and you have to use some of the resources that you might have left off in the prior movies. So, but anyway, that's my thought. So Marvel, I still got Marvel in mind. Mothra, born from one of the many eggs from the female Muto, is still alive, unbeknownst to everyone. When she finally surfaces to get to her next stage of evolution, because she is Muto related, that communication is very recognizable to Godzilla. That's what wakes him up again for a second round. By the time he gets to her, they have a little battle, but she flies now. She's a little bit more advanced than her father, and she can fly at higher speeds, maybe a higher height. Whether or not they give her the EMP, that's up to them. But again, I wouldn't give it to her. I'd give her, some of her other powers. Not too much, not like the laser beams and all that. But yeah, so that's my idea. That's my speculation. Will it happen? Of course not. Something completely different is going to happen than any of us can assume. But it's fun to speculate as always. Anyway, guys, this is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. Join the nation's Facebook page to meet other subscribers or visit E.T.N's Facebook page and Twitter page. Links for all are in the description.